Today I want to talk about IEW's brand new Wonders of Science writing lessons. I have the teacher's manual as well as the student book. Now IEW has a wonderful decision tree that I really like to refer to. They have updated it, but this is their current decision tree. So you can see that the Wonders of Science is here in the green. Now that is normally considered their third through fifth grade level. I do have an upcoming seventh grader, so I will talk a little bit about how I'm planning on implementing this with a seventh grader, where this is normally considered for reading levels 3 through 5. You can see here is their theme-based books that they recommend 3 through 5, and you can see that they do have this chart to show that it can be modified for the upper grades, and so we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But this is what is considered their Wonders of Science. Now, for this book, in their brand new catalog, you can see that they have listed here Wonders of Science, and students will write about science-themed topics such as insects, inventions, and famous scientists while they learn to write with structure and style. I did pick this up because this is what my daughter is interested in: inventions, famous scientists, history, things like that. And so the Wonders of Science works very well with her. For this teacher-student combo, it is $55. The student book alone is $35, and the teacher's manual alone is $29. So let's talk about what you get when you purchase this. And I purchased the set. So I have the teacher's manual and the student book. And then what you can have also are downloads. So I just printed this off from my computer, but you can see I also receive advanced editions, which we're going to talk about that pretty in depth. The checklist exemplars, this is showing some examples of what students have done so that you can see what type of papers can be written with this. Your simplified source text, and then the vocabulary cards, which we will talk about that as well. So let's look at the student booklet. So for the student booklet, you can see here's how to access your downloads, and then here's your table of contents. We will be talking about note making and outlines, writing from notes, retelling narrative stories, summarizing a reference, writing from pictures, summarizing multiple references, also inventive writing, formal essay models, and formal critique and responses to literature. There are also quite a few appendices to help out. Now, we also have the introduction, which talks about how structure and style is set up, and they do recommend that you would have some exposure to structure and style prior to jumping into this theme-based writing curriculum. So we have a suggested weekly schedule: day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. In the past, I have tried to stick with this 4-day schedule. For some weeks it works, and for some weeks it hasn't. So I have actually increased it to 5 or more days when I need to. Here's the scope and sequence. So you can see the first introduced styles. If you are familiar with IEW, you will see here the ly adverbs, who, which, clauses, banned words, etc. So these are the styles where they're first introduced. Now you will be exposed to and expected to utilize them in future lessons, but this is just where the first time that they're introduced. So in Unit 8, which is lesson 24, is the first time the number 1 subject opener is introduced. And so this will show you that there are 30 lessons in this curriculum. So if you go by the 4-day a week, then this is going to be 30 weeks. Something else that I want to note with this is your vocabulary words. So this shows you the vocabulary words that are for each of these lessons. Now remember what I showed you earlier, those vocabulary words are a free download PDF. And I have already downloaded and printed them out. So let's see what these are. So I printed them front and back. So I still have to cut them, but you can see here's your vocabulary word. There's a picture that is related to that. And then on the back of this gives you your definition a sentence where using that vocabulary word. So you can see how they do this for the various vocabulary words, and it's quite a few vocabulary words that you are going to be exposed to in this curriculum. So this is something that I really like about IEW, is just simply the number of vocabulary words and how they introduce it and how they make them so important in their writing. So I do like the vocabulary that IEW includes. So this again is a download when you purchase this curriculum. So let's go back to the student book. So again, on day one, what you're going to be doing is reviewing the vocabulary words or past lesson concepts, learn your new structural model or writing concepts, and then read your source text and write a keyword outline. Then on day two, you're reviewing your keyword outline, you're learning the new stylistic technique, studying the vocabulary words, and completing your exercises on vocabulary, and then beginning your rough draft. Day three, review vocabulary words, finish writing your composition, and then you submit it to an editor. Now your editor does need to review this immediately and give feedback if you're going to be able to stick to the 4-day lessons, because your final draft is on day 4. So that is just one of the things. Sometimes it does, as the editor, take me a little bit longer than immediately to get that back, and so there may be a skip in that, and then day 4 would be maybe Friday or something like that. So for lesson 1, you can see you have your goals. Here's your assignment schedule. They do have literature suggestions in the appendix, and so that is really good. Now they have teaching notes for how to do this. If you're familiar with structure and style, you will understand exactly what they're talking about. And you can see that here is your source text and your keyword outline. Then you have your vocabulary practice. Again, I really like the way IEW does their vocabulary. So then we are up to lesson 2, honeybees, and you can see that it is set up in the same basic way that they have for before. We're introducing the ly adverbs in this one, and then you have the checklist. Now this checklist, if you look back here, your checklist, this can be a separate PDF download. I didn't print it out because I don't need it. I also don't need the simplified source text, so I did not print that out either. And as we just move on, you can see that it follows the same basic procedure each and every week. So you have your goals and then your assignment schedule for each week. Now, as you move forward, there are going to be times where you have more than one text that you have to combine together into your final product. And so that's good to be able to see what the differences are between texts and truly understanding how to make some of them your own. Here is your writing from pictures. So these are some of the same concepts that you get in the other IEW courses. Here we're talking about Nikola Tesla, and then you go into Albert Einstein. So it's really just a lot of this is something that my daughter is interested in, and so therefore why I purchased this version, even though it is in the 3 to 5 grade range. But speaking of that, and this is something that I really like about this, they put together what they call the advanced editions. So what this is if you do have a child that is in grades higher than 3 to 5, levels higher than 3 to 5, then you can use this to add to what the original assignments are in here. And so you do have that opportunity to either increase the difficulty, or maybe you have a larger family and the different grade levels, and so you can have your 3 to 5 grade level work out of this, and then you have your higher grade levels utilizing the same basic source text, but then you also have additional information. So they have this starting at lesson 5, and you can see what they're going to be doing here is basically you have your assignment, style practice, then here we're doing alliteration, decoration. So this is just something where there are additional styles or additional research or something extra to which you need to be able to incorporate into what your final paper is. Now, this has additional practices, your style practice, and you can see that there are still the same lessons. For lesson 20, you can see this is about favorite inventions. So what we're wanting to do is learn the Unit 7 inventive writing structure model. So this is a new model, and you can see you still have your assignment schedule. And then here's your model. So this would be your teaching portion. Here's the prompt for which the student needs to answer the questions. And then you have your notes from your brain, things to think about when you're brainstorming for this. And here's your keyword outline, your new style, your style practice, vocabulary practice, and here's your checklist. Now, if you do want to have additional information, you can go here to lesson 20 in this PDF, and you can see what it says. Lesson 20 in the student book guides you to write 2 paragraphs about a chosen invention. So this is what the prompt states, but the advanced lesson encourages you to describe 3 uses and write 3 paragraphs. So you can see that it just gives a little bit more information, a little bit more is required, and then you still have your style practice, and here is your checklist. So that is just an example of what these advanced editions include. Now let's look at the teacher's manual. So you can see with the teacher's manual, here's your downloads. So this is just showing you again what your topics are going to be for this science writing curriculum. Now I really like it when teacher's manuals do this. So you can see here is the page for page 5. Here's page 5 in the student manual. They are the same. So as the teacher, you're going to be able to be seeing exactly what the student is seeing, and then they give you your teacher's notes. And so you can see this is just how it is set up throughout. Now, something else that they do in IEW is this vocabulary. So they show you the vocabulary that you're going to need for each lesson. So you can see, print the vocabulary cards for lesson 1. And so that's what you're going to be working on. And here is just more, anything in this gray box is teaching tools. So I really like the way they do that. They tell you to read and discuss, locate your keywords, and then they're showing you an example of what the keyword outline can be. So this is just something that is great about the way IEW sets it up, along with their checklist and what they need to do. So this really is a teacher's manual in the truest form of what they give you. Again, you can see what your topics are for this curriculum are included here. So you have anything from honeybees to the Model T, space, Albert Einstein, inventions, and then individual scientists.